All right. Dee Dee types racist with two exclamation points on a show that's titled Yoddah Live Music Appreciation. So I'm assuming that perhaps someone needs to check on Dee Dee to see if she's okay. She's having some kind of experience that seems perhaps like it's a little detached from reality. I don't know. I can't make that assessment, but that's what appears to be happening to the best of my ability to assess. Um, we had someone in there. My B. Woody says, are those goats? Hey, Jessica, good to see you. Thank you for the heart me. All right, let me introduce the show. This is Yoddah Live. Today is Friday, July 31st, 2026, last day of July. And for the foreseeable future, I am doing music appreciation every Friday so that I can lazily film a segment for one of my channels called Old Guy New Rock. Let's see, do I have that anywhere? Do I have the Old Guy New Rock thing? Wait a second. I thought I had a poster for it, but I don't see it. Wait, where is it? Is that it? Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Old Guy New Rock with Yoddah. That's me. Yoddah is spelled Yoddah because film studios are litigious. So, let's see. I'll just, some quick housekeeping. Best thing you can do when you get here is to follow Jessica's lead and get that heart me right at the top. Right? That just lets the platform know that you're watching something and you want to watch it or something like that. And, share out the live. Best way to do that, put your finger gently on the middle of the screen, somewhere around my nose or my forehead, my giant bulbous forehead. And your friends list will pop up, and just hit send as many times as it will let you, which I think is like 30 or 40 times, maybe even 50. I don't even know. But it'll send to everyone that you have there. And if you have a list in your chat, either you belong to a list or you've created your own list, you can send out one share, but it goes out to up to 32 people. I think that's the new limit for lists. I'm not sure. It keeps changing, and I haven't checked in a minute, but that's what it was the last time I checked. Jessica says, yes, follow my lead and just follow me because I'm the shit. Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly. So I would encourage people to follow Jessica as well. Maybe one day Jessica will carve out time in her busy schedule to do more live shows, which I encourage you to go check out because she is brilliant in my opinion. All right, so as people come in, I sometimes play a song, and since there's only four people in here, you know what? Maybe I need to find, and I don't mean to say only. Thank you for being here, but um, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I accidentally closed a thing. Can I get that back? Reload tab? No. Reopen close tab. That's what I want. There it is. Okay. So now I want to hit plus next to that. Go to the video platform. What's up, Hayes? Good to see you. Let's see if I can find a song real quick that I'd like to play. You know what? I'm going to go for an oldie, but a phenomenal one. Okay, so let's see. This song, I'm pretty sure it's from the 70s, almost certain. And the guy who is the lead singer and His name is escaping me right now for some reason. Wow, that's weird. Um, I am kind of tired. That's probably it. I'm sluggish. But the lead singer of this band or had at this time, a phenomenal voice. Powerful, tremendous range, immaculate technique, all of that good stuff. And this is a very philosophical song. It touches on Eastern philosophy, which I'm very much into. This song is called Carry On, Wayward Son, and the band is Kansas.
Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest.
Joe Walsh.
Don't you cry no more.
I think that's the lead singer's name. I think it's Joe Walsh. Not to be confused with the Eagles' Joe Walsh. No, I was wrong. It's Steve Walsh.
Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think, I still was a madman. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming. I can hear them say, carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Masquerading as a man with a reason. My charade is the event of the season. And if I claim to be a wise man, it surely means that I don't know. On the stormy sea of moving emotion, tossed about I'm like a ship on the ocean. I set a course for winds of fortune, but I hear the voices say, carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
By the way, the singer hasn't even gotten past second gear yet. Wait until you hear this shit. This is when he really starts to let loose. And you see how good his voice is.
Carry on, you will always remember. Carry on, nothing equals the splendor. Now your life's no longer empty. Surely heaven waits for you. Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry. Don't you cry no more.
I have to sound like an old fart for a moment, man. They really just don't make music like that anymore. There's still great music out there, and I love all the music that's out there more or less, but like that, with people trained on their instruments, no inner ear monitors, no digital manipulation, because that didn't even exist at the time. This is just real musicians and real singers playing the fuck out of a song. Oh, let's see. Hold on a second. We have what sounds to be our uh, first dumb comment. Your boy Troy says he doesn't believe in God. He had a live speaking about it. Wow, what a phenomenal! Hey, folks, breaking news. And the only thing I would correct your boy Troy is that I've had many lives about the fact that God is just your imagination, but you're living in a moment that's not this moment because I'm not talking about that now, so I don't know why you are. But what I'm talking about is phenomenal music, and that to me is an example of phenomenal music. And of course, that's just my opinion. Okay, so we're going to go on to quickly just do one song. I'm just going to review one song from a band I've never heard of before today. And I know for a fact I have never even accidentally heard one of their songs. This is just a new single from this year. So, we're going to do the whole old guy, new rock thing. So I'm going to restart the segment just in the old boy, new rock voice, so to speak. It's just me, still fat, still bald, but I'm just introducing the other segment. So let me get ready to get on that stuff. I'll get rid of that tab. Okay, okay. Hi, folks. Welcome to another installment of Old Guy, New Rock. I am Yoddah, spelled Yoddah, because film studios are litigious. And today, I'm going to be listening to a band I've never heard before. I actually never even heard of them until today. That's not a reflection on them. That's a reflection on me because they've been around since 2011. So it's not a new band, but they have new music out. And this is a single that I'm about to play that just came out this year. So the band is Loathe, and the single is Fangs. Let's check it out. Ooh, I already like that groove.
Like it goes, I fled the scene, wishing I find it all so bleak, but I don't know, stranger to the memories I keep. I did my
Nice tone. Well, so far, I really like the vibe. I like the groove. They're very reminiscent of a 90s kind of vibe, almost like Chris Cornell kind of vibe in a way, just because of the distorted vocals. They got a very acoustic sound. It sounds like the mics were mic'd, the drums were mic'd overhead. So they sound open. They don't sound like heavily processed, Mike. I keep saying Mike. What the fuck? Drum samples. It sounds like real drums played in a room. Might have even been recorded live. Who knows? But I love the vibe so far.
Down by the state of it, I'm reminded how to savor it. Lately, nothing matters much to me. But I've no time for the way I'm living. It keeps bringing me to my knees.
This is a nice break. These guys are tight. They've gone through several time changes and they're right on the one every time. Oh yeah. Little abrupt, I said? Abrupt stop for yo ass. That was nice. That was nice. I definitely enjoyed this band. I know that I could listen to a lot of their music. First time I ever heard them, and who knows, this could be completely different from anything else they've ever done. I don't know. I am definitely going to check them out because I like their sound. I like their audio engineering, their musicianship. The vocals are beautiful, and it seemed like a man of color fronting that band. And it's a nice multi-culty vibe to the band, but yeah, it feels new and reminiscent at the same time. That's kind of a hard thing to create. So hey, Loathe, I like it. All right, if you like what I'm doing, like, subscribe, share, do all the good stuff so I can grow this channel. Peace out. All right. Now I'm back to the regularly scheduled program. Jessica, I'll invite you up. Hopefully you're available to come up. And anybody else that wants to come up, feel free. I don't know what that weirdo was talking about. That guy doesn't believe in God. He had lives to talk about it. Lultum, have I heard of lighting seeds? I have not. Okay, sugar-coated icebergs by lighting seeds. I'm going to put that on my list. Actually, I'm going to put it on the same list that I put Jessica's recommendations on. Here we go. It's called Sugar-Coated Iceberg. The title is intriguing. Sugar-Coated Iceberg by lighting seeds, is it? Lighting, not lightning, lighting seeds. Okay, lighting seeds sounds like a Toker reference, but hey, I don't know. All right, let me, okay. So, does anyone want to come up and chat? Oops, did I miss someone? Yes, I did. I missed a request, but I found it. Oh, there it is. Loltom. Is it Loltom or LOL Tom?
It's lol, Tom.
Loltom. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, good sir?
I'm wonderful. It sounds like you are from across the pond, as they say.
That would be correct.
Now, I'm sensing maybe a touch of Welsh or Scottish.
Very close. Have you heard of a place called Liverpool?
Oh, well, now that you have spoken more, yes, I hear it completely.
So I'm in a
Liverpool,
place
beautiful,
in
beautiful,
between
tall, mixed race women in
Liverpool
Liverpool,
and
from what I've
Wales.
heard.
There's a
So
place called the Wirral. It's in between Liverpool and Wales, hence the Welsh and
nice.
the Liverpool.
Yeah, I find that like that whole UK thing is fascinating because it's very much like New York City. As you travel from the south of New York to the north of New York, people sound very, very different.
Like you've got the
And
five
five
quarters, is it?
boroughs,
Or
the five
boroughs?
boroughs, but even outside, forget about the five boroughs. Just
Because
that's
I've got
one, just
family in
Manhattan.
Westchester,
Yeah,
I
Westchester
think.
is one of it's. I don't think Westchester's not a borough, but it is north.
It's in New York State.
It's New York State. Yeah, it's considered upstate New York.
Like, I only found out recently that there's New York and New York State. It's like they're all the same. Sorry.
Well, there's New York City is in New York State, and that's why it's
Yeah.
called New York, New York, right?
Well,
And
New
but New
Amsterdam.
York City and upstate New York might as well be two different countries.
Yeah. It may as well be Pennsylvania. The
I'd say it might as well be Texas.
yeah.
I spent a lot of time in upstate New York because I used to go every other week. I used to go about 45 minutes to an hour north of Albany. So this is way upstate, like getting
Oh,
close to
Albany.
Canada.
Yeah, near Buffalo,
Say again.
or near Buffalo, New York, or Albany.
Albany. What was your question? It's
No, because I remember Buffalo's right on Niagara Falls, which is part of New York,
right. Buffalo
and
is
then
right.
Albany
Buffalo, I think,
is
is half Canada. Like Niagara Falls
yeah,
is half
yeah.
Canada and half U.S. So Buffalo is as far as you could go north.
I'm just trying to remember the best American geography.
Oh, don't bother.
I
It's
know
useless.
us Europeans always have a go at the Americans for the geography, but when it comes
Yeah.
to the
I
third
don't even
biggest
know
country,
American geography. I'm terrible with geography. I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know until I was in my 50s. I'm 62 now. I didn't know until
really?
I was in my 50s that Scotland was a part of England. I always thought they were two
No,
different
okay.
countries.
Let me explain this confusion. So Scotland and England are both different countries.
Right, but Scotland is contained within England. No?
No, so
They're
there's a
not on the
place
same
called
landmass?
Great Britain. So Great Britain is the island of which contains Wales, England, and Scotland. The UN recognizes Great Britain and Northern Ireland as one nation because Ireland with the rest of Great Britain make up the British Isles. So England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland, and Northern Ireland. Well, Northern Ireland is a bit of a touchy subject, but Wales, England, and Scotland, they're all separate countries, which all make up one country, if that makes any sense.
Well, sure. Africa's the same
Uh,
way.
so it's because uh, the first Stuart King of England was the sixth King of Scotland. But because Scotland tried to set up a colony in modern day Honduras, they went bankrupt. So they made a union between England and Scotland to make the first Great Britain. But at that time, Wales was under British colonialism, so that got put under. But so Great Britain is made up of countries of other countries, if that makes sense. So
Sure.
it's a country of countries.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So it's very unique in that sort of way.
Okay, Chuck, you're being a real weirdo, so I'm just going to block you because I can't stand dumb people like you.
What
So
happened? Sorry.
you made a recommendation of a
Yeah,
band.
so they're
So
from my local area of
mhm,
Liverpool,
nice,
which we've also got Cilla Black, the Beatles, and Cast as well, which is another good Liverpool band. We got European City of Culture and Music in 2008, so we were the capital of um, music and uh, in Europe until that horrible vote where we voted to leave the European Union, but the city of heritage was Liverpool. So it was very good for that. And we've got
nice.
music. I would recommend it. It's very quite indie sort of music, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
you know
music
the
is music.
Strokes, they're from New York themselves.
Hmm.
So it's like that sort of style. It's like Britpop and indie in
Nice,
itself.
nice. Now, my understanding is I heard a comedian talk about this a long time ago, Patrice O'Neill. He said when he went to Liverpool, what he
Yeah.
discovered is that because it was a port city, that there were very tall, very beautiful mixed race women there. Is that still true?
It is very true,
Nice.
but we've got a very dark past in Liverpool.
Every country does.
No, but it's even worse in Liverpool. So the rest of England, I, 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 I'm embarrassed to say this, but in Liverpool, we've was they built their so Liverpool got all its money from the slave trade.
Mm,
So we've got our this is why we're so educated on it, is because we've got our history uh, of museums and stuff to educate people so they aren't ignorant about where it's come from. So our street names are named by some of the people who used to sell slaves and stuff, which
mhm.
is absolutely horrible to think about.
Yeah, we
So
still have
we've
that
got
in
our.
America. You know,
I know it's
the stock market. People think the stock market was named after money. It wasn't. It was named after
no, it
human
was
stock.
exactly, which is horrible to think because they named them after cattle.
Yeah,
You know, you've got a stock of cattle. They were naming it after, which that's why they say, oh, the British Empire, they were the ones who stopped the. No, they were raking in the most money from the products,
sure.
even up until, because the ban in the British Empire, which was what the pirates started in, doing in the 1700s, so the cotton trade is what made Liverpool the money.
Hmm.
And so in the 1800s, the Confederacy, when they made their official declaration of surrender, they did it from the docks of Liverpool. So in Liverpool, there is a cenotaph of the Confederate States, which is done as an educational piece, not done as a proud piece, if that makes any sort of sense.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
it's done as an educational, because back in the 1800s it was done as sort of, but now it's being, because it's so multicultural now in Liverpool, because uh, in the 80s Margaret Thatcher made Liverpool the first city to be in economic decline. So to destroy the city by something, but there was someone called Michael Heseltine who advocated against it, and but now Liverpool has become such a multicultural place and stuff. We have to teach about the terrible history of it, if that makes sense,
Well,
to
yeah,
try and then
you have to try
learn
and avoid it in the future. So yeah, you have to know the
exactly.
history, right? That
Yeah.
seems to be the reverse of what's happening in America. But before we go on to that, we have another guest, Zoe. Please unmute yourself. How you
Hello.
doing today?
I'm all right. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you for asking. What's on your mind?
Uh, I thought I would get involved in the music appreciation
Excellent.
at Liverpool. Actually, is home
Uh-huh.
of the greatest artists in the
I
entire
mean, there's
world.
only two of you, but it's
It is.
starting to feel like a British invasion already. So,
I've
Sorry,
not
we're
actually been to Liverpool,
recolonizing.
yeah.
but
And
it
so,
happens that the UK has the best talent. Like everything comes out of the UK. Have you noticed that as an American?
Well, did you know the Strokes from New York started the indie trend, which happened all throughout the 2000 2010? The Strokes was the main band, which came from New York.
Ah.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure there might be a way to quantify who has the most artists or from
Well,
wherever,
I'm a
but
big
I
fan
mean,
of.
it's clear
Yeah.
that the UK has been very influential in the music scene for a very long time.
The Beatles from Liverpool.
Hmm.
I think
Sure.
I'm a big fan of the Beastie Boys, which because of African, he recently died recently as well, didn't he? African Bambanda, is it?
Bambata.
Yeah, he was in such an influential part of my music journey, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
And
Well,
then
yeah.
to read up about how the Beastie Boys used to take parts of his songs as well to then define the New York scene of that sort of style of music just seems so interesting to me, if that makes any sense. Because you're from there, so you're practically the home of quite a lot of music. Blondie as well is
Where are
another
you from?
with
Yoddah?
is it the she did one of the first rap songs with the
Well,
I
I
forgot
mean,
their name,
one of the
the
first
Flash or something
one of the first is debatable, but certainly she was one of the
with
first
Flash
that kind of
and
melded
yeah.
the new age vibe with rap. Her rap was kind of goofy, but you know, whatever. I mean, you know, that's
No,
what artists
obviously it was
do.
quite,
You know,
but it brought it to that the charts would finally start playing it, like the Billboard would finally actually put on songs which were well liked,
and
and
that
then
happened incrementally over time because you know rap had been building since the late '60s
yeah,
and early
exactly
'70s,
from the jazz scene and
the actual epicenter of rap is in the Bronx, and which again is New York. That is one of the five boroughs. But you had asked me, Zoe, where I'm from. Originally, the Dominican Republic, but I am basically a New Yorker.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
On the question of like, well, for rap, I was going to ask you a question, both of you. If you had like someone saying you need to sing a song word by word perfectly, or it's over. I don't want to get dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is on the line. Word by word, what song do you know? All the lyrics, everything.
Now,
Perfectly.
are you asking me a rap song or any song?
Well, for me, it's a rap song, but it could be any
So a
song.
rap song that I know word for word.
It could be any song.
That's a good one. I know a bunch of Ice Cube word for word. I think I know "Summertime" by what's his face, Will Smith word for word.
yeah, and
Although
DJ
he's
Jazzy Jeff.
such an asshole, I can't bring myself to play it anymore. But
Well, once
Izzy,
he slapped Chris Rock, that was like it for me because
yeah,
I used to think he
what a
was
total
such a
asshole.
good.
What a total asshole. I mean, and I actually did a reaction video. My first ever reaction video was reacting to his apology, his so-called
Really,
apology.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Oh, it was so ridiculous.
it
I'm
was
very
almost
much
like
into.
Logan Paul's one when he went
Well,
into that
I
Japanese.
mean, I'm
Yeah,
never going to listen to anything Logan Paul says, but
no, not music wise, but do you remember when he went into that Japanese forest and he filmed an unfortunate
I
person
honestly
who.
don't know anything that Logan Paul has ever done. I've heard his
So
name. I've seen
he
snippets of
got into a
interviews with
lot of
him. He
trouble
sounds like a
about
moron
10
to me.
years ago. And this is why I'll never respect anything him or his brother does, is because he recorded a video of him in the. So, have you heard of the Hanging Gardens in Japan?
Yes.
So, it's a park where
Yeah, it's
people
horrible.
tend to because of the loneliness epidemic in Japan.
Yeah,
He
you could walk
recorded
through there, and
himself.
you could walk into like someone that's
Yeah, so he's
opposite.
recorded himself and then made a joke about somebody hanging themselves while that person is hanging in the tree. So
Yeah.
I'll never speak or respect, and it was reminding me of that almost. It was sorry, I've lost where I was going with that.
I've got a question. Boy George, he recently did a song.
I don't
Very
I
bad.
don't know if that's
Wait,
true when
let
he
me
tied him
let
up
her
to
let
the
her get to her
radiator.
question, please. Go ahead.
Oh, it's not a question. It's just a statement, really, of artists being really deep, horrible. So Boy George basically mocked what happened in Palestine.
Really?
Yeah, recently. Yeah.
I don't know, but I've seen that in recent years and quite recently, Boy George has had some real legal issues. Didn't he spend time in jail recently?
No, so he got questioned for his time back in 2006, I think it was, when allegedly a fling at the time he handcuffed to a radiator and then blackmailed him or something like that.
No, I think hold on. I think there was something else that went on. I kind of remember that it was
And
very
it got
recent
brought up because he was
that
on
but he
I'm a
actually did jail
Celebrity.
time. He actually did jail time.
On that, while you're thinking that the song I know off by heart, can I sing it?
Uh,
I
it depends.
maybe.
To
What
answer
song
your
is it?
question yourself,
Huh?
it's straight out of Compton, but I also cannot sing that.
All you ladies, shake your like this. Shake your body, don't stop, don't quit.
I
Just
sing the
do
wo-
it. Just do it. Do it, do it, do it. Now, lick
Oh,
it
what
good.
about
Lick it right. Lick this
the
like you
world in
should.
motion?
Hey, folks, I can't hear you if you're both going at the same time.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So
he's
we're
talking over
gonna
it.
have to, share the mic. So what song was that you were singing?
Oh, I forgot it now.
You don't know the name of it?
It's like, what is it called? I don't know. I just know the lyrics. Powerful, powerful, profound.
Okay, no, you were right. So what I saw was an interview when he was talking about the time that he spent time in prison. And yes, it was for falsely imprisoning someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't in there particularly long, but he
Um,
was in prison.
I think she left now, Zoe.
That happens. So
I'm curious. Have
yeah,
you heard of World in Motion before?
no.
So it's one of the first. So it's because there's a rap in there by John Barnes. Have you heard of John Barnes before?
Is he the Australian singer that had that big
No.
voice?
So he's not a singer himself. He's part of the England football
Oh wait,
team.
I think I'm thinking of John Barnum. But okay, I'm sorry. What
So he was one of the because back in the early 90s, start of the 80s, he was experiencing the most racism because football hooliganism. Have you heard of soccer? Sorry, I
Soccer
struggle with saying
hooligans?
that
Yes.
word. With hooligans,
Yeah.
where like people just suddenly start fighting, and there was so he was one of the pioneers in English football that would stick up for black rights and stuff like that. So on one of the England national team songs, he decided to sing a rap, and that's then become the defining factor. Where in England they sort of accept, because it took a while because there was so much prejudice and stuff in England at the time. So I wasn't born at that time, but reading up on it, there was a lot of prejudice against people singing raps and stuff like that. They saw it as either too American or too much of someone who is not what they would say. I don't want to say the word because I don't know if what you would consider offensive in America is the same as in England and etc. etc. But it's someone. So we would say someone who's black. They would not like. They would not like black music, which they thought rap was. If that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, I'm following you so far.
So it was pioneering that this England national team song would then have a rap on it from John Barnes. So it then became a pivotal song because everyone would sing it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the changing factor of the times because it's only recently that because in England, you know how you've got in America, it's all about race, where are you from, and all that. In England, it's all about class. So it's quite similar due to a lot of people who are, depending on the color of the skin, would be in a lower class, but they would try and deflect it to try and be about something else, which is not, if that makes any sense at all. But so this was pioneering because then a lot of people sort of realized, are we mistreating people here? Are we, like, the conversation actually started to happen because of it, if that makes any sense. John Barnes speaks about it and talks sport and stuff like that. So he does mention it. It's not just me just like randomly just ranting, speaking on. It's just because when I see old football you know, when you like watch on, is it ESPN? Is it ESPN you've got, or like PBS, where you're watching like the team from like the 1930s or something? They've won like the World Series or whatever it is in American football, and it's like there's a pioneering player. It was like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because even up until recently, like this, so FIFA has been good up until they're trying to sell it to private equities run by Trump. So Trump has tried to buy the World Cup almost. So UEFA have
That would
said
make it worse than it already is.
exactly, like it. So you were in New York, so you had like, did you experience any of the World Cup? Did you see any of the?
I saw uh basically short summaries of every game because I didn't want to sit through all the games. So
Yeah.
I saw 15-minute wrap ups of all the games, and I saw the last game live.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
which was very disappointing.
it was, well. It was the game you should have watched is France England. That was the.
I saw that game. It was good. I just didn't, I
Yeah.
saw a few games
Did you
in
see the
their
fights
entirety.
after the match?
Hold on. I saw a few games in their entirety. France England was one of them. And it was a good game, definitely. But I couldn't believe that Argentina, as brilliant a team as they have always been, didn't even get one shot on goal for the whole game. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. No. Honestly, I agree with you. However, the way which sold it for me was, did you see them after the match?
No, I
when the
heard some shit
Spain.
went down, but I never saw it.
So Spain went to go celebrate with their fans over in their half of the stadium, but Argentina was so upset. Some of their players, as they were running over to go celebrate with their fans, one of the players punched someone in the face just because he was celebrating. Even that he's just won the World Cup, which is the biggest thing in sport. It's like someone winning the Larry O'Brien Trophy or the Stanley Cup.
It's the biggest sport in the world,
It's
and it's truly a world title. It's not you just play every state in your
exactly
country and call it a world victory. This is literally a world victory.
like, but I can't imagine. So the best way I can describe it is like at Spain when they had won is like when the New York Knicks had just won in the Madison Square Garden, was it, where you
Hmm.
beat the San Antonio?
Hmm.
Because I do enjoy my basketball. I think Victor Wembanyama will become the best player in the league, but I think Luka Doncic does deserve an MVP at some point. So just before that, because I think he's going to dominate the league for at least 15 years if he stays fit. Wembanyama.
I guess time will tell.
No, I know this is a music one, and it's very rare that I
I
get a.
already took care of the music part, you know.
No, it's because it's fascinating. It's because we're able to speak to each other, and it's like, do you have any questions for me as well? Being like from in England.
Well, I will expand on your last thought because I've been saying this for years. If you were to reanimate a pharaoh right now, he would
Yeah,
be absolutely fascinated by what we were able to do since his demise. Because it hasn't been all that long since the pharaohs were
yeah.
here, right?
Well, like Cleopatra is closer to the iPhone than she is to the pyramids being built.
Right, exactly. So when you look at, imagine handing a pharaoh this little gleaming rectangle and saying, you can talk to anybody in the world right now that you want to, as long as they have another one of these gleaming rectangles, and you sat them in,
Yeah.
you showed him adult content, that would freak him out. You showed him a supermarket, that would freak him the
Wait, it
fuck
looks
out
like that.
completely,
That's probably what they'll say.
you know? Because
Yeah.
imagine a pharaoh being brought to a supermarket. Because one of the things that people don't consider, and this is like of any time before industrialization, right? Like there was no such thing as non-locally grown food. It had to be locally grown. That was the only option you
Have you
had.
talked about Luddites over in America?
Well, that's a different story. But those are
No,
people
but
that are
as in like,
choosing
when
not
it
to
started to
indulge.
industrialize, and then you
Yeah.
had the people who were like, "Oh, but these loom machines are gonna sort of take over," and
And they
but
were
it
and they
just
were right.
shows how much history is repeating itself.
Yeah,
With
and
like,
and we still have them here. We have
yeah,
communities that have completely or
is
eschewed
it the
any kind of
Amish? Is that
technology.
what they're called in
The
America? The
Amish,
Amish.
yeah, yeah.
No, it's just I'm enjoying our conversation. I'm sorry,
No,
it's
no,
just
no,
this.
no worries. I just had to take a glimpse at the chat to see if anything interesting popped up. But that's one of the burdens of running a live show is you have to glance at I don't actually look at the chat while I'm talking to people because I think that's rude. But once in a while, when there's a pause, I take a glance. But yeah, like I love technology. I'm only
Yeah.
alive because of technology. Like if 50 years ago, if I had the ailments that I've had, I would have been a goner. They wouldn't have known what to do.
Yeah.
500 years ago, they would have just drilled a hole in my head and crossed their fingers and hoped for the best.
They would have done the little hook up the nose and wiggle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, So I find technology fascinating, and I think about how different life was just 500 years ago.
Yeah,
Before all of this wild shit started happening, before electricity, before gas powered engines, before the ability to like what the fuck are radio waves? How did people figure out how that there's some invisible shit going on that we can somehow hack into? I don't understand any of it,
like
right?
that's what I find so fascinating. You know the pictures of stars you'll see.
Yeah,
They've
they're not even
converted the
the
waves
mass.
which they've
Yeah.
sent out from the James Webb Telescope. You know the one which got sent in 2023,
Mm-hmm.
and you know the Hubble Telescope. All they
Mm-hmm.
do is send out radio waves out and see what reflects back. That's why they
Right.
got their big. So all they do is then convert those radio waves into um, visible light that we can see. So that's why they always have to say it's conceptual, is
Mm-hmm.
because we can't actually see the. We don't have the eyes to be able to see what is actually out there
Right.
because we've only got visible light. If that
Well,
makes sense. So
to borrow a phrase from your part of the world, all that stuff does my head in.
no,
You know.
well, you're from New York. It's the most English place you could be.
Well, I mean, look, my opinion of New York City is that it's the center of the known universe.
Yeah.
But when I
Club
when I start
77, is
to
it? Or
say again,
is it Club 77 or what's it again? Like,
uh,
it used to be a big club in the 70s.
oh God,
Uh,
who knows? The '70s. I mean,
unit 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 something.
well,
Unit
there was Studio
17.
54.
Oh, that's it. That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking of.
Studio 54 was big in the '70s and '80s, especially in the '70s with disco and
Because I
no
watched that
nose
John
candy.
Travolta
You know.
film. You know that Saturday Night Fever.
Hmm.
I can't watch some parts of it because it's like it has not aged well, has it?
Well, it was never a particularly good film, but
No,
but at the time it was very exciting. I mean, I was a teenager when it came out. I think I was 13 when that
really?
came out. Yeah. That was 77, right? Let me double check
Yeah,
that.
I think so. John Travolta
Yeah,
and
let me just double check that. Sometimes my memory is good, sometimes it isn't. So let me go to
as they
IMDb and
say in the English Premier League, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's shit.
right.
That's what. So it's
Fever.
like the Cubs winning the World Series. That manager said, "Sometimes we win good, sometimes we win shit."
Yeah. Hey, look, whether you win by an inch or a mile, you still win. Uh,
Is Jets New York team?
yeah, although their facilities are all in New Jersey, but somehow
Oh,
it's a New
over the
York team.
water, over the water.
Yeah. So let me see. When I know it was 77, I got the year right. I'm trying to see when it was released exactly. And I should be getting there soon. December. So yes, I was like 13 and a half when it came out. And it was very impactful because it was impactful to me the same way it was impactful to the rest of the world. It was a glimpse into a world that not everybody knew was happening. Like
Yeah.
disco was very much the province of the rainbow community. It
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
that it
Yeah.
was very underground. Some of the earliest hits were from like, what we would refer to as drag queens and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So, it was a thing where um when we when it finally went mainstream is when Saturday Night Fever came out, and everyone was like, "What the fuck is this world?" Like people just dancing and having, wild times and stuff. And so, it was a very exciting time. And then, but when you get past the excitement of it and you just watch it as a film to be critical of a film, you realize it's not that good.
No.
You know, and in
Like
fact, it was
especially
kind of
the underlying
depressing.
tones.
And then when you learned that John Travolta lost his girlfriend while he was filming, you understand why he looked so
Really?
miserable during the film. Yeah, yeah, he was flying back and forth between New York and California. He was with a woman. I don't think he was married, but he was with her for a long time. A woman substantially older than him, named Diane Hyland, I believe, and she passed away in the middle of making that film. So when you see Tony Manero
Yeah.
being like depressed, he was fucking depressed. But before we continue, let's say hello to Barsky. What's up, brother?
Hey man, how are you?
Another day in paradise. Your mic is a little low, or maybe you're far away or something.
How's this? A little better?
Tiny bit. So what's on your mind tonight, Barsky?
Well, it's funny because you brought up disco,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's actually really
Yeah,
funny because
you're
like
very low now for some reason. Do you have
uh,
headphones on or something, or Bluetooth?
no, let me. How's this? Is this a little better?
Not really.
What the fuck?
It could just be a connection issue. Could be a network thing. Sometimes that happens. But
I might go grab another beer while you chat to
oh,
him.
feel free, of course. Um, so Barsky, I don't know. I don't think you were here earlier for the beginning of the show, right?
No, I just got
Okay.
on.
Just so you know, I played a song called Fangs by a band called Loathe,
Okay.
and it was really fucking good. I don't know. Are you familiar with that band?
No, no. What
Yeah, that's
the?
what I'm doing Fridays now. I'm doing what I'm calling it music appreciation on this platform, but really
Okay,
I'm filming content for another platform called Old Guy New Rock. And
cool,
so that's what I do every week now is I listen to new songs from like hard rock, that kind of shit, metal.
cool.
I did a full hour because I did the whole album of Even in Arcadia by Sleep Token, which was fucking phenomenal. So if anyone
Nice.
wants to catch that, you can find that on oldguy.newrock on the big video platform.
Gotcha. Okay, I will definitely go and check that out.
Yeah.
Um, I've been what I was saying before when you guys were talking about disco. My mom and my dad, both born in the 60s, lived through the 70s. We listened to, at least for my mom, we listened to a lot of disco uh, as a kid, which was kind of funny because like listened to a lot of disco, and my dad listened to a lot of like classic rock, a lot of Led Zeppelin, Cream, really I have an eclectic taste in music, so I love hearing new band stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and tonight, actually, I don't know what the general manager was playing over the sound system at the restaurant tonight, but the song "Play That Funky Music" started playing, and
Play
here's a
that
really
funky music, white boy.
and here's a really funny thing about that song. I sang that song for the seventh grade talent show in front of the entire student body while wearing cargo shorts, Vans. I highlighted my hair, a Hawaiian shirt, and sunglasses. And that footage, it exists somewhere on a DVD at my mother's house. And every once in a while, she pulls it out and puts it on, and I'm like, just immediately, just like the cringe factor.
So
Um,
did you become the crazy music funk boy?
I I I pretty much was, yeah, like, I listened to a lot of disco and in my mom in the backseat of my mom's car when she was driving me to and fro.
Yeah.
But it's also like one of those things when it does any like disco song comes on. There are some people that I see that are just like, ugh, like they cringe at it. That I'm like, dude,
Hey, it's not for everybody.
it's not
There's
for
not.
every.
There's literally not one type of art or entertainment that is for everybody. The most
I agree.
successful artist in the world is still Michael Jackson, and he's not
Yeah.
liked by everybody.
Well, I mean, even like, you have mentioned several times, like one of your favorite songwriters, Billy Joel.
Hmm.
Like, I think that he's a brilliant singer, a brilliant artist. I don't care for some of the stuff that he does, personally, but I mean, music is subjective.
Of
Like
course. Yeah.
I personally think that disco is one of those things where it's like, yeah, sometimes the lyrics are a little bit weird, but it's also
Oh,
like
like Get Down Boogie Oogie Oogie.
Soul
it,
Train.
you
Listen,
know, but it's
but
got a
the thing
bop.
is this, it like to me, I find it funny when people get upset when you don't like what they like. And I
I
understand how
hate
it
that shit.
happens. Some people make that part of their identity or something. But to me, it's like, if you like what I like, great. If you don't like what I like, I don't care. It doesn't change how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Like I knew people that got mad at me because I was like, yeah, the Beatles are kind of like, for me. Oh my God, how could
I
you say
fully
that? Greatest
understand
band in the
that.
world. All right. So
Yeah,
does it change how you enjoy the music? What the fuck do you care what I think?
exactly.
I mean, it's actually like it. I had the same conversation about the Beatles recently, and it was actually kind of a rare thing that happened. Everybody was in kind of agreement. They have some really good hits. They have some good hits that I really enjoy. But to be honest, I'm just like, like I
Could I say
pass.
this point to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the best way to describe the Beatles feeling now is if you ask anyone what Oasis is like, everyone
Oasis is the
will
Beatles plus more fist fights.
exactly. It's the exact same concept.
Look, there's
Yet
a
all
song
of a sudden,
on one of Billy Joel's albums called Laura,
it's,
which is
is that on the Zanzibar album?
no, Laura is from the Nylon Curtain. And
Okay, yeah.
the Nylon Curtain is my favorite Billy Joel album, and it's his favorite Billy Joel album too. And Laura, like the chorus of Laura, sounds like almost every Beatles record you've ever heard.
Yeah. It's because they just knew at the time this chord's gonna catch you. This way I play it like this.
Well,
It's
yeah,
gonna be
they knew because
yeah,
they mostly heard black people playing that stuff, so they were like,
exactly.
"Yeah, this
Well,
works. We
like
love this shit."
Helter Skelter, they stole straight from different artists.
Yeah, but at least
Like
what the difference between the Beatles and Led Zeppelin is that the Beatles were very upfront about their appreciation and influence from black
yeah,
musicians. Led Zeppelin just straight up stole music from black people.
yeah, they did, and they could get away with it as well because
Not
they were
anymore. They had
listening
to
to
settle a lot of lawsuits because
they
times went
listened
on and people
to
got much better at tracking that shit and they were found
exactly.
out.
Because, like, the way they saw it was, oh, we're English, so none of these people are gonna hear these tunes.
Well, they were wrong.
And exactly, they were, because that's why they released them, because they were like, not a lot of people gonna have these. What was it called again? Like 12-inch record or
Mhm.
something like that. None of
Yeah.
these are gonna have these of the actual artists who wrote them. So they thought, oh, let me, because
They
at the
gambled
time you
and
had to,
lost. You know how many millions of dollars they've had to pay artists because they were
yeah.
wrong about what you're saying? They got caught.
No, no,
They
don't
got
get me
caught.
wrong.
And
They stole the
the thing that
songs.
pisses
They
me
stole
the
the
thing that
songs.
pisses me off the most is that they got away with stealing Stairway to Heaven. There is no
I am
question in my
curious.
mind that they
Who
stole
did sing it?
Stairway to Heaven.
Who did? No, I'm just curious because obviously I'm not too much of an expert of that time of music. I am curious where did they get because obviously they must have heard the chords before. So
They heard the
where
chords
they
almost every night from their opening band. That's who they stole it from.
really
Yeah. I think the band is called I sometimes uh get the name of the band and the song backwards. I think either the band name or the song name was called Taurus, something like that. I think it's
oh yeah,
Torus. So, but yeah, they like when you hear the original and then you find out that these people opened for Led Zeppelin night after night after night. You
and
go,
they
"Oh
just
yeah,
straight
this is,"
up took it.
and the reason why they got away with it in court is because they were never allowed to play the songs in court.
Really?
Because as soon as you hear it, it's
Yeah.
unmistakable. And it's not like, and I understand that there are chord progressions that are used over and over and over again. Music is based on certain chord progressions, but this arrangement is so specific. It's not just a typical chord progression. All right? Like you could say that if part of it was the same, but the whole fucking thing is the same.
Yeah, like there's no excuse. You can just hear it. Do any of you know Funkadelic?
Sure, of course. One
One
of the
of my
biggest
favorite songs of
influences in
them
funk
is
music.
Maggot Brain.
Uh-huh.
I absolutely love that song that they do.
I don't think there's a bad Funkadelic song out there.
No, it's because it's mostly, it proves the point that it's not about the singing. It's about how you play the music. If that makes any sense.
Sure. Look, entertainment comes down to, and I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care if you're talking about television, books, films, paintings, it doesn't matter. It comes down to how it makes you feel. And either you like how it makes you feel or you don't. That's it.
Yeah.
Who was Led Zeppelin accused of stealing Stairway to Heaven from? Stairway to Heaven.
Did you have Jimi Hendrix on your side?
Of course.
What was
okay, I was wrong.
Yeah.
So the song is Taurus, spelled Taurus. The band was called Spirit. So that's who Zeppelin stole Stairway to Heaven from. Allegedly, because the court says they didn't.
They definitely did.
But
I've heard that song
they
before,
paid out. I think they paid out from the last time I looked. It was like 6 or 7 different lawsuits that they settled out of court because they were just blatant ripoffs of black artists.
My only caveat to this is, do you know when the Rolling Stones sued the Verve for their song of Bittersweet Symphony?
Yeah, it sounds like a direct
6
ripoff there.
seconds for the orchestra, and it's but the Rolling Stones got, so the Verve lost the case to it because instead of using 5 seconds, they used 6 seconds. So it just shows the prejudice in actually the judicial system as well, that they're suing towards certain artists rather than the actual creator, because even he used it at the end of their music of the LP. So it was literally part of the song, which then it's telling you flip over the side to go side B. That's the part of the music they used, I think, which they sampled, but it was 6 seconds rather than 5.
Yeah, but so, I mean, if the law is you can only sample 5 seconds and they sample 6, they broke the law.
Yeah, that is true, but it was from their, that is true, yeah. But also the Verve, that was their biggest hit. Have you heard of the Verve before?
Of course, I know that song.
Yeah, Lucky Man.
I like that song. It's not my favorite, but I like that song.
No, but you've definitely heard it.
Oh yeah, over and over again.
Yeah. So that was using that. Sorry, let me Google
that opening.
Real quick, I don't know how many seconds they used. So that is the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm doing my own Google research right now.
Yeah, and Bittersweet Symphony is an okay song. And I'm glad that they made a lot of money, but they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, so they had to pay.
It just kind of reminds me of that one video when Vanilla Ice was trying to describe how his song was just slightly different from Queen and David Bowie's Under Pressure.
Well, he completely lied about that because there was no difference.
No, that was the thing. Like
Vanilla Ice is a fucking joke. I mean,
No, he's been a joke.
he's been out of entertainment for a long time. I think he sells real estate now.
Yep. And that's what makes me smile so much because it's like I remember um, when I was really young when he was like coming out and he was trying to like voice out how it's different, and it was like there was absolutely no difference. And I
Yeah.
remember very specifically sitting there with my mom who went on a my mom's Brazilian, and she was just going off in Portuguese about how big of a deal
Obrigado.
this is. She said that like and like when Brazilian women go off, it's like dialed up to 11. It's like damn, you know, she really got into it, and I
What
think
makes that different than any other woman?
well, that's fair. That's very true. That's very
But yeah,
true.
I mean, Vanilla Ice was just a culture vulture. You know, he
Oh, were
jumped
you
in
speaking about
like
the
there's
interview?
and I want to just make a distinction about this. I don't mind people that have come up in a culture and reflect what they've been around. Like for instance, MC Search is a perfect example of this. MC Search, when you hear him talk, he sounds like a black dude because he was raised in Brooklyn and Queens around black people. So that's not someone that's appropriating. He's part of the culture. I don't mind that. But Vanilla Ice, it was a joke. You know, he had nothing to do with that culture. He just saw an opportunity. And again, hey, listen, good for him. He grabbed the brass ring for a few minutes, and he had his fame and money. Good for him. But we did the right thing by dismissing him.
Do you remember the interview where he goes, the Queen and David Bowie songs go dun dun
Yeah,
dun dun
we
dun
were
dun,
talking about that. Yeah,
and then he goes dun 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 dun
yeah.
dun.
He tried to add a
Uh,
note that wasn't there.
so what happened with the Verve song? It was a 3 to 5 note string loop. How long would that usually last?
I mean that there's no answer to that. It could last as long as you wanted it to last.
No, I'm just curious about the term because I don't know. I'm not
No,
that
well,
intuitive
I'm
on
giving
it.
you the actual answer because in music, there's no way to say how long will this segment last because that all depends on the tempo of it
Yeah,
and all that other stuff. So,
it's usually on a standard 4/4, isn't it?
well,
Or
that's
something.
the basis of musical notation. But you could do in that 4 beats, you could have all sorts of shit happening. You know,
I'm curious because I'm not very intuitive on like how music is made, if that makes sense. Like
yeah.
I'm interested in the history of it and all that, but I'm not very intuitive on the how it's made and
Well, it's something that's I think very very intrinsic to humans because after we created weapons to protect ourselves and hunt and fight off other hoarding masses, we invented instruments. It's like if you notice, you never
well,
have
the
to teach a
caveman
baby.
invented the
You
flute
never have to
diode
teach a
and
baby to enjoy music, right? They
yeah.
just do. Like most human babies, when they hear music, they react to it, they enjoy it. So it's just something in us.
I am curious. Do you have your own podcast or
I do.
something like that on Spotify or
Well,
something like that?
this platform doesn't like us to mention other platforms, but if you go to my profile, there's a couple of things you could do. You can go to my
Oh no,
profile
because you're on
and
my
click.
phone at the moment.
Yeah,
It's just
I'm giving you a couple of options, so hang on. All
yeah.
right. So, number one, you can go to my profile and click the link tree, and that'll take you to my other platforms. Or if you go to the big video platform and you search either for Yoddah, Yoddah, as it is over my head, or if you look for the name of my podcast, which is The Persistent Rumor, you will find it. So you're guaranteed to find it some way, somehow.
Are you the artist Yoda?
I am just Yoda. I don't know if anyone would refer to me as an artist, but
Sorry,
I am Yoda.
I'm on the green with the black stripes on it. You know, Spotify.
Oh, yeah. I mean that I've kind of abandoned that platform, but
Ah,
I
no.
am on that. I am on that platform. I think it ends like last year. Once I heard that Spotify was supporting ICE, I dropped them. But
Oh, do they?
yeah, they were helping ICE advertise.
I absolutely hate that.
Yeah, I closed my account when I
Because
found that out.
like being from England, we're told about the unlawful killing of that woman in the
Yeah,
car.
you have to avoid
Um,
those violent words. So the
sorry.
KILLING, I got you. Of and by the way, it's not one; it's been several
Yeah,
dozen actually.
and I was proud of your representative of that. I was proud of the representative of the area actually standing up and saying something to the government, sort of saying this is not right.
Yeah, well, because it goes against
Well,
everything that's in the Constitution.
it is. You all wrote it to try and get rid of us, but turns out you've got a king yourself now. Because
Yeah,
he's
well,
got those 2028 hats, is it, or something like that?
yeah, and look, an idiot can do whatever he wants to do. That doesn't make it a real thing. But you know, I think America's a garbage country.
No,
But
I appreciate what it's done, like culturally,
yeah,
because if you look
what
across
has
the world,
America? What in the world has America added to culture anywhere?
no, TVs, movies, and music as well. I would agree. It's
Okay,
got
so
some,
okay,
like, if, for example, soul music. We
okay,
would not hear that if that was not coming from America.
okay. So art. America's contributed
Exactly.
some art to the world. Okay,
It's
great.
because of,
But
even
that
though it comes from bad places, like it being so oppressed that you have to come up with the art in a creative way that it doesn't have to be suppressed. But
But unfortunately, if you stack up all of the art that was created against all of the bodies that have been destroyed, then unfortunately art loses out.
it does. But it, like, it's just like, it's it's just so crazy to see that nobody voted for, like, it did even was it Kamala?
Hmm.
Kamala.
Are you saying nobody voted for her?
No, I'm saying people did. It's just I didn't understand how the majority of the people in different states didn't vote for her. Like,
Well, he didn't get the majority either. He got a plurality.
yeah, like, because she, like, for us being in England, she made the most logical sense. Well, to be fair, we would have Bernie Sanders as president because he's came across as the most logical sort of voter, because he wanted to at least give free healthcare, which costs Americans so much. Like, if you're trying to have a child, that's almost like your entire life savings to just have one child. So imagine having two or something like that.
Well, also, America is the most dangerous country in the developed world for a woman to have a child.
Exactly, because you've got so many people protesting
No,
against.
no. It has nothing to do with protesting. It has to do with the shitty medical care.
Yeah, because they want you to go through insurance or something like that.
And insurance is not necessary. In insurance, there literally is no reason for insurance to exist.
There
Not
isn't.
not 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 in the way it exists here. Like if you tell me that I have to have insurance when I buy a car and I have to have insurance when I buy a house, I'm okay with that. Set up a government
We've
fund
got
for
the
that.
same in
Let me
England,
let me
by the
finish
way.
my thought, man.
Yeah.
So set up a government fund for that. You don't need third-party companies that skim profit, because that's all these insurance companies do. They are a barrier between you and your service, and they just skim profit. Why not have the government do that, just like they do it with the VA, just like they do it with Medicare and Medicaid? The government takes care of the funding of those systems. There is no reason why third-party insurance companies have to exist at all.
I'm curious with one question. Um, do you have like as in like, does it different companies race with the ambulances to try and get to you first, just because they're the ones which
I don't think so. I
get
don't
that?
think that's how it
No.
works. I think when you call 911, which is our emergency line, basically they try to route the closest one to you. I don't think
Okay.
several are called and then they make a mad dash to you.
It's because like it's almost seems like a far because in England we've got our National Health Service.
Hmm.
So anything where you've like even just your general checkup, that's free
Hmm.
because you're paying it through your tax.
Yeah,
But
because
is that
England
what
cares about its
Obamacare?
citizens.
Is that what Obamacare tried to do?
Yeah, and the Republicans watered that down tremendously, and Obama let them, which is one of my big disappointments with him, because he had a short window where he had all the power and ability to uh, quote unquote ram Obamacare down people's throats, which would have been ramming free health care down their throats, and
I
he
am
squandered
curious,
the
what is
opportunity.
Obamacare? Because we've heard the term, but
It's
I'm
just
not
essentially
sure.
it's free health care. That's really what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
But
he
it's
let people
but
manipulate.
the Republicans stopped it from being free.
Oh, okay. No, it's just I'm curious because obviously I've I've grown up in England, so everything has been free since like since 1945 is when
Yeah,
we
you get free health
made
care,
it.
free
Yeah.
college, right?
No,
And I
not
think
free.
no,
We so the trouble with England at the moment is our right wing are trying to Americanize our
right,
politics. So
right.
we're even having lobbying and stuff like that happening. So we're almost reversing into American sort of style of
And that's going to be
politics.
the fall of you, because let me tell
No,
you,
but
right now America gives billions and billions of dollars to is not real, and their citizens have free health care, their citizens have free college. I think they also have
exactly.
daycare, and that's insane for us to be giving our money to a wealthy country
Yeah.
and not providing the same thing to our citizens that our money helps their citizens get. Nobody can make sense of that.
Like even at the UN votes, you're voting for human rights, yet your country is one of the ones abusing your human rights.
Hmm. And that's always been the case. This is why I say America's
Yeah.
not a good country.
Like that's the trouble with our because America's such a big influential place, our right wing are using the media as a sort of become almost that sort of, because we've got a law in England which Ronald Reagan got rid of, which you can almost see from how you've got CNN and Fox, and they're two different completely news story places. So
Well,
in England,
they're actually not two different news stories. CNN would be considered news, and Fox would be considered entertainment, because they had
yeah,
to admit in court that they lied about facts. So that's not a news organization. They lost
Exactly.
the biggest defamation lawsuit in American history because they lied about facts. And that's not a news organization.
That's the point I'm making, but they can still be classed under the what's your governing body on
The very useless FCC,
NAC, yeah.
the
So under
Federal
them,
Communications Commission.
they're still classed under news because Ronald Reagan declassified as what could be.
I
And
think
then
the word you're going
and
for is
England,
deregulated. He
yeah.
deregulated. Yeah.
And in England, we're starting to follow suit just because so many people are just all of a sudden believing some of this BS just because they're being told off an entertainment website, not a news website. Because in England, to be classed as news, you have to be impartial. So you have to have both sides of the argument. That makes you news.
Yeah, and I
But
don't mind partiality if
like,
you're just delivering the facts.
yeah,
Right? So if there's a right-wing station or left-wing station, I don't care. I care,
as
are you
long as
giving
you
me the
get the point
facts?
across.
Right? If you're giving me a narrative or a story, or in the case of Fox, just straight up lies, I'm not interested. Like, I don't consume mainstream media news at all because it's
Yeah,
useless to me.
that's my trouble with because in America you've lost that ability to be able to have that verification because you've now actually been told, as in because you're for-profit companies on both sides of it, that you're going to lean to one side to get more views or the other. In England, we're starting to now copy that because we're having American investors invest in, and
Yeah.
that's why
It's the beginning of the
there's
end.
this. That's why I'm a big fan of Andy Burnham, who's our new prime minister, is because he's actually doing something. This is the first prime minister in about 25 years who's actually done something. He's actually trying to cut down on the cost of living. He's actually speaking to the people, if that makes sense, rather than the news actually saying, because the BBC is run by the government, hence why it has to be impartial. So, have you heard GB News before?
No.
So that's practically our UK Fox, but it has to be classed as entertainment. But because it's done in a new style, the people are stuck in a way where, like, ignorant people think that it is news, even though it's classed as entertainment by Ofcom, which
Well,
is
you
our
can't. The
governing
problem is you can't
body.
do anything about dumb people. That's a huge problem in America. Is that
Yeah.
America is literally getting dumber.
No, it's because if you speak to anyone, they will agree with you. However, the general populace will not. I think that's where the problem. Who's here with us? Balatro.
Are you talking about the guest, the above you?
Yeah.
That's Barsky.
Oh yeah.
Barsky. What do you think of this? Because, like, I'm just generally curious.
Well, I mean, me personally, like it's thinking about healthcare and when things have been obviously not where we want our country to be. And I'm saying that in the most diplomatic way possible,
Yeah.
I'm more just like my wife and and my son obviously are the two most important people to me in my life. And I don't want them to ever feel afraid or worried or whatever of needing to just go to the freaking doctor,
I have
for
one
for
question
either
to ask.
for either like a checkup or an emergency, they should be able to go like, yeah, we need to go, and we have been. Um, but it's really hard when all of a sudden it's like, last year I had appendicitis, and I went in for an emergency appendectomy, and luckily, I had, insurance, that helped with that, but it was still just like I looked at like the total cost and I was like, "Holy fuck, do you mean to tell me that if all of this like wasn't covered, I would be paying $25,000? I haven't even seen $25,000 in my whole life." You
So
know.
let me shock you even more. When I was done with my brain surgery in 2012, the bill was $250,000.
Jesus.
But
No,
luckily,
this seems
luckily
crazy numbers.
the hospital decided to forgive the bill because they fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, it's just one of those things, right? Where I'm like, you know, it's, I mean, Yoda has said this like several times, like, since I've been following you, yeah, America is not a great country. It,
It's
it
not even a
damn,
good country.
no, it's not. It is garbage. It is garbage.
Yeah.
But, but God damn it, if I don't want it to be, I,
Yeah, I'd love it to be better. I live here. People that I love live here. So I
yep,
want America to figure out that human beings are more important than fucking profit.
yep,
Because that's the thing that is ruining this country. And it's ruining several parts of the world where the oligarchs have bought up all the politicians and convinced everybody that profit is the only thing that matters. We are now feeding computers water that needs to be fed to humans. What kind of
Like,
fucking world are we living in?
exactly. That's what we're being told this is the world we're supposed to live in. It's awful.
You
Because
know,
like
like, and what a beautiful world it could be. I mean, we have all of the resources. Like it doesn't matter whether you believe in theology or Darwinism, right? The earth is here. And what is painfully evident is that this place was designed to sustain life. And there doesn't, like, if you believe God created the place, I got to wonder why God didn't make everybody vegans, because why all the violence just to eat? I don't understand that. But even given that, when you look at all the vegetation, when you look at all the life on Earth, it's clear that there is more than enough to go around. And like, imagine somebody walking up to a patch of Earth and drawing a box on it and saying, I own this part of Earth. You have to pay me rent if you want to stay in this part of Earth. Oh, I own the water. You have to pay me for the water. This doesn't make any goddamn sense at all.
in
Okay?
Australia, that's what they actually do. So Australia's biggest export, you can Google this, is water. So a private equity in Australia, they have built dams to collect all the water from their rainstorms, and they'll try and sell it back to the government
It's absurd.
just because of all this horrible sort of like, for example, when you get free healthcare, sure, you might have 1% extra tax on your income, but surely you would be happy to accept that 1%
Of
extra
course
tax.
we would. People
For
are
if
losing
you
their
go
homes because of medical bills.
exactly, so that's why I'm so annoyed about your discrepancy in your news, is because half of the people are just reading it. I'm getting 1%. No, you're getting benefits from it. Life is better. Like if you look at Norway or Sweden or Finland, sure, it's high tax rates, but the money is going somewhere to improve your general sort of life. And that's why I'm annoyed of England as well, is because we're Americanizing, because we've got so much American investors due to the fact they want to go back to their heritage or whatever it's age or sorry, I did like quotation marks there, but obviously I don't have my camera on. But it's just completely stupid. What I'm happy to pay extra just so we get our more luxuries for the people.
Of course, everybody
We would.
is. I had a job where I got to speak to people from all over the world, and every time I knew, I would ask them, "Do you have universal health care in your country?" Yes. And I'd say, "What do you think about it?" "Oh, this, that, and the other thing." Most of them would say, "Oh, it's pretty good. There might be this that you could fix or that you could fix." Right. So, would you ever, with the imperfections that are in your current system, would you give it up? Do you want to give up your universal health care? Not one person ever said yes. No matter what country it was that had universal health care, whatever complaint they had, right? And the complaints vary from country to country, but whatever complaint they had, nobody ever said, "I want to get rid of it." And as a matter of fact, America is the only developed country that doesn't have universal health care. And that's pathetic.
It's because it got even more extreme from the Cold War, being it's communists and socialists who want free healthcare. Hence why it's so. Even today, even though the Cold War has ended, you're still debating on the fact as communist policy to have free healthcare.
90% of Americans don't even know what the fuck communism or socialism are.
Exactly. Which
Okay? They
that's
don't
the
know. They
blessing of
just throw
being
they just
in.
throw these words out. "Oh, you're a communist, you're a socialist." First of all, America has a long list of socialist functions that are vital to the society. Okay? Like, how about
Exactly.
taxes? Taxes are socialist. Okay?
Because they're supposed to rejuvenate your public. That's why I'm such a big fan of Mandani at the moment. Is it
Oh, he's
Mandani?
brilliant. He's brilliant.
Because he's well spoken and he's actually putting his policies into place as well.
He is doing what we already know can be done, because it's not a question of, finding solutions to these problems. These problems were already solved in the past. Okay? Franklin Delano Roosevelt, after World War II, showed us what society could look like when the government gives a fuck about human beings, right? And when the government is not greedy and only cares about their next yacht or next mistress or next street candy party. Okay? He showed us that. And look, and FDR wasn't perfect. He was racist as fuck, but he gave us the template about how to build a strong, productive society. I was born in 1964. In that year, the average income was $5,000 a year in America. And for that $5,000, because the dollar was so strong, you could have a house, you could have a car, you could have vacations, you could have healthcare, you could have schooling for your children. Okay? And everything, as far as like just trying to live, it was okay. America still had its problems, but the average life was not just constant struggle and stress. Like right now, America's in a situation where, for the vast majority of people, if one thing goes wrong, you could lose everything. It almost happened to
Like
me in
it's
2024.
like it's like that 2008 crisis which happened, but the government still bailed out the banks rather than helping the people who lost their jobs
Right.
because of it. They didn't care. They only cared about their money.
Well, so I think you're right in spirit. In reality, I don't know that was the wrong choice, because
No, it was the right choice.
you were trying to save a financial system. You were trying to save the economy of a country. So I think there probably could have been a balance where a fund could have been set up for homeowners or something like that. So in that sense, I agree with you, but I don't think it was a simple choice of either Wall Street or Main Street. But
Yeah.
but it
No,
is
but
it is
I
obvious
agree with
that
what you're
everything was
saying. It's
tilted
just the
toward
point, the
Wall Street.
systematic point of the fact that why the hell were they choosing the profits, even though they knew it was an unsustainable sort of policy to have? They just kicked it down the line. That's all they
Well,
did.
there's an easy answer to that. The system doesn't change because the people that have the power to change it are benefiting from the way it is now.
Sorry, I do also have to say I'm so sorry I've brought you away from the music appreciation. It's
You don't have
just
to apologize. This is how most of my lives go. We
no,
go all
it's
over the
just
place.
because as you know, I'm
If I had
from
a problem with
England.
it, I would have stopped it.
It's just I'm curious to see from someone who actually lives and makes their money in America. It's the majority of the people I speak to. It's literally healthcare. If you could have a free healthcare, a lot of your country's troubles, I reckon, bar the sort of racism you get from the fucking ICE and all that. But that's a whole different point.
Yeah.
But
Well, so
if you could solve the healthcare,
Because America is a
everyone's
complex country,
life would be better.
the answers are not simple. So it's not
Yeah.
one thing that would need to change that would make everything okay. But yes, free healthcare is a phenomenal start to the conversation. But how about the fact that in July of 2009, 17 fucking years ago, was the last time that minimum wage was raised in America? And meanwhile, every year since then,
Sorry, was
the
that
cost of living,
17 years ago?
yeah, 17 years ago, the cost of living has gone up every year since then, but the minimum wage hasn't gone up. Like, how about, like, I think a fair minimum wage, and I'm not even being generous, just like a decent minimum wage would be $30 an hour, because that adds up to $60,000 a year, and you're not rich by any stretch of the imagination. You're just able to have a fairly decent life at $60,000 a year, you know? And so why not make that happen? We have the ability to do it, but we don't have the will to do it because greed. Greed is what is causing 99% of the problems that are in America right now.
Because when the introduction of the credit card came in,
Big
everyone
mistake.
was able to spend, be able to go on their holidays, be able to go to different places because then they would pay back into the credit card.
Yeah,
But
you were able
a
to
lot of
spend more than
people,
you make.
exactly. So it started. Anyway,
But
this is my friend
go
Kat.
back farther than that. If you
Yeah,
really want to know the origin of the demise of the American economy, I think the most reasonable place to start would be 2013 with the formation of the Federal Reserve. You know,
well, I think it starts before that. I
well,
think it's
I do too.
when,
I was going to get to that. So with Lincoln, you had the central bank, and Lincoln's name is associated with with slavery. However,
yeah,
what another very important thing that was going on during Lincoln's time was the central bank, which he abolished. Right, he got rid of the
yeah.
central bank, and
Which one was
which
this?
pissed off the
Sorry,
Rothschilds very much.
who got rid of the central bank?
Lincoln did. As a matter of fact,
Did he?
Lincoln printed his own money, and there's a nickname for money that's still in use, not as heavily as it was. But when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, I would hear people refer to money as greenbacks. And the reason why money was called greenbacks originally was Lincoln printed money that was only printed on one side, and the back of it was green. and that's the money he printed when he closed down the central bank.
I did not know that.
And so, and then if you go from there and you see what John Paul Morgan, not John Paul, John Pierpont Morgan, J.P. Morgan was up to with his whisper campaigns to
Yeah.
make the banks insolvent and shit like that. But it really, once America decided that the entirety of a country's economy rested in the hands of private banks, that was the beginning of the end.
Exactly. Like, because like even during World War II, when Churchill sold all the British gold reserve, because it used to be pound, the world currency, now it's the dollar, is because we gave America all the gold, even though we were doing atrocious things in many different countries. But that's where we got the gold. Like, even if you rebuilt the British Empire, we'd be still the third biggest economy in the world, due to the fact we made the countries poor. We did, and we gave the gold all to America, which is when they did in the 50s and 60s use the dollar, and then when France asked for all the gold back, sort of thing, but it was dollars being I don't know if you've heard that or something like that, but
Yeah.
that's where a lot. And then what's his name, the Watergate guy, Nixon. Yeah, that's when he recalled the gold reserve to be something, is because
Another
they
huge
saw the
mistake.
loophole in.
Another huge mistake. Taking America off the gold standard made the dollar worthless.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened to the pound about 50 years prior to that. Because the pound was the pound because it's a pound of gold. Well, it was a pound of silver, but we had gold to back it up, if that made sense.
Yeah, I mean, now money is just an imaginary thing. We just agree on the value of it, and it's not backed by anything.
But also, if you go to Zimbabwe, they thought, oh, we've got a money hack now. We can just print more. No, it doesn't work like that, because you just made.
Well, it kind of does when it's not backed by anything. That's the thing in America.
Yeah.
We just keep printing money, and the Fed says, well, today the interest rate is this, today the interest rate is that, which never works, right? It never works long term. It can only work for a short period of time, but it's always, like you said earlier, it's kicking the can down the road.
Like, if you ban lobbying in U.S.
Another
Congress,
part of the equation. Rescind.
If you ban lobbying,
Citizens
then
United,
you might actually get something done, because I believe you've got quite a lot of corrupt politicians. If you're able to ban,
that's an
obviously,
understatement.
because it's lobbying, you would never be able to ban lobbying. But if you manage to get lobbying sorted, then you might be able to live in a
like
country.
I said, you could ban it. The problem is the people that make the laws and have the power to change these things are the ones benefiting from how it is now.
Like, I do believe you've got some good politicians in Congress. It's just that they're few in a minority rather than a majority.
But it doesn't matter. The problem is the system. It's not the individual politicians. You know that old saying that people only say half of the saying when they say one bad apple spoils the, one bad apple, right?
Yeah.
But the rest of the saying spoils the whole bunch, or spoils the whole barrel, either way. But like, it doesn't matter how many good politicians there are if the system of politics is corrupt.
Exactly. And that, I'm envious of America, how it is, as in, like, if you speak to the general American, like we are doing now, like, I'm enjoying the conversation we're having. But what I'm not envious of is your policies your government is making, because it's indistinctively, oppressing the people rather than. So, like, I do feel like race is a big thing in America, but they're distracting from the fact because they're using race as a thing to distract from the fact it's a class thing. I think there's a big class divide, but they're using race to divide the actual people to actually say, look, we would love universal healthcare. We would love it if the police weren't corrupt and start attacking people. We would love it if we could do stuff together as a community. But because of the lobbying and they implement, like, I do believe some things are done. The government buys somebody to just be extra, sort of something, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. The thing in America is that even when there are no differences, differences will be invented. It's just
Exactly.
like in Rwanda in 1993, where
The Rwandan genocide.
800,000 people lost their lives in 30 days
Did you watch
because of
that? Yeah.
try to hang on. And the reason why that happened is that someone just, and I think it was the Dutch, just kind of, or the Belgians, whatever it was, just made up a difference between two people. The Hutus and the Tutsis were exactly the same, but someone convinced them that they were different, very much like the Sunnis and the Shias in the Middle East. And so in America, there's layer upon layer. It starts with race, but then it just keeps subdividing. They keep finding more and more layers of how to divide us, and unfortunately, it works.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because the one of the big factors in the Rwandan genocide is because they knew when the Belgians moved out that a certain group of people would have been the majority. So they wanted to control. The minority controlled a certain part in Rwanda up until like the time where they did execute all the males, anyone who wore glasses, like Pol Pot did in Cambodia. They
Yeah,
understood that they would lose power, so the way they controlled was through fear, and that's what America. I know it's bad to say, America are doing that.
of course, they always have been.
Like, for example, Egypt. Egypt's the best example of it. The British and the French tried to do it in one way with the Suez Canal crisis. The Americans did it in the other way by assassinating the leader. If that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
the
So,
'60s were a bloodbath in America.
yeah, because the banana wars and all that was started by the Americans trying to implement their own trade by hiring a dictator. Well, do you remember Ollie North?
Mm-hmm.
Oliver North.
Mm-hmm.
He was because you sold guns to the Contras, so you could funnel money to the Iranian regime,
Mm-hmm.
which then it backfired a bit, but that's the sort of level of the American money tree is what they see it as.
It's
The elites get
one of
all
the
the
reasons
money,
why Reagan
yet
was a piece of shit.
everyone else loses.
Yeah.
Everyone loses, bar someone who's won money on it.
Yeah, I mean, Reagan was a piece of shit president,
He was
and
demented on his second term.
say again.
He was demented on his second term. He
Whether
had
he was or
dementia.
not, I just know that almost every decision that came out of that administration in 8 years was garbage. It just like
Yeah.
he cut taxes his first year after promising not to raise taxes, and every
It's
year for the
like,
7 years after he raised taxes.
I reckon if Arnold was born in America rather than Austria, he would have being president, and he was best friends with Reagan, so
I
it would
mean,
have
who
been
knows?
another.
Who knows? That's like saying if the queen had balls, she'd be the king. Like, who knows?
But she doesn't, so she's. Have you seen that clip? If your
No,
aunt's had balls, she'll be your uncle, but she doesn't, so she's not. You know what I'm saying?
no, I never saw that. But you know,
It's worth a clip.
I am reminded of something that one of my favorite comedians used to talk about, and I want to verify it with you. My understanding is that if a king picks out just a random chick, let's say she works behind the counter at a fish and chips place and marries her, she is now the queen. But
Yeah,
if
so it's different sort of. So she'd be a queen consort
okay, so not
rather
actually the
than
queen.
like Queen Elizabeth. She was the queen, so that's why Queen Victoria was the Empress of India. Empress is above king and queen. That's why they had to have a place. So she was the Empress of India, so she'd be above the Pope and all that. So she would. So like, if you watch the fascinating pictures, the Queen only time she's worn black is when she met the Pope, because the Pope is ahead of the Queen. It's
Okay,
really weird, all
so
this
let me
European
get back
discrepancy.
to the rest of the question. And so when you say, because I know the term queen consort and king's consort, but uh, so as the queen consort, does that mean she's not actually the queen?
No, so she's not as important as the Queen was. So notice how her husband was not King Philip, he was
Right,
Prince Philip,
right.
because he was the Queen's consort.
That's what I was going to say. The queen can't make a king, but when a king
Exactly.
marries a woman, I thought her title became queen.
Yeah, so she does, but it's Queen Consort is her
Okay,
full title.
right.
Different to, but also it's constitutional. So it's like if you had Michael Jackson as leader of music or something. Like, it's just a ceremonial role. So we have our parliament, which rules everything. So it's like
Right,
your
yeah.
Congress,
The royal
which
family is just, they're just landowners. That's their
it's for
claim to
show,
fame.
really.
Yeah,
Ever since like World War I, I think it was,
yeah.
they just became for show.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't their real claim to it's just because they were wealthy
Saxe Goa
landowners?
Bertha or something like that.
Say again?
Saxe Goa Bertha, and then they turned it to Windsor because it was too German.
So
That
yeah, I
that's
mean,
literally the how thin the royal line is. It's literally just because.
and I heard there's a lot of inbreeding in the royal family.
Why it's like that. It's like that North Carolina hill place, the Appalachians.
Mm,
That's why it's called Blue Blood.
yeah. Although I think West Virginia is probably the worst area for that.
Hey, it's got Greenbrier there. I've been to Greenbrier once.
Yeah, it's got a lot of people that when they're talking, they say, "Hey, if you and I get a divorce, are we still brother and sister?"
No, they've all got web feet.
I've actually seen inbred children up close. It's not pleasant at all.
Well, you're from America, of course you have. No,
Well,
only
no, not
joking.
everybody has, believe it or not. Like it's actually a rare thing to see them in the wild. But
Yeah.
I was in upstate New York, and in a tiny little area, Fort Ann, New York, a tiny population of like hundreds of people, which is incredibly small. And I was sitting somewhere and I saw a family, and it was so obvious. Like, you saw mom and dad were
Do you mean brother and sister?
clearly brother and sister. Their facial
Yeah.
geometry was exactly the same. Okay. And then their kids had misshapen heads. There were three of them. and
Yeah.
they had misshapen heads, and it was very jarring to see.
Anyway, is it? I forgot the name of our other guest who's with us.
Barsky.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to go. For us English say a was. Are you
All
able
right.
to enter crowd? Speak about the music some more.
Barsky can talk about anything. He's been here many times.
Oh,
Oh,
was he?
Yeah.
yep.
Sorry about it's just literally I need a fat piss. So I'm sorry about that.
No worries. So Barsky, you've been listening for a while. What's your reaction to all this?
I mean, as always, man, like what cool conversations, and to be honest, it's like kind of why I just like enjoying, but like I'll jump in
Yeah.
when I find the need. Um, my wife has always wanted to go to visit England. Um,
Mm.
eventually we'll get there.
One of my best
Uh,
friends in life lives there, and he loves it.
yeah,
He
we
was,
actually have
he
a.
lived in America for the vast majority of his life, but I think he's been in England like 10 or 12 years now. He comes back twice a year, and we usually hang out when he does.
Mhm.
And you know, he he has a great comparison, having lived in America all his life, and now he lives in England because that's where his wife's originally from. And he's like, it's just night and day different.
Yeah, I mean, my wife is also um, she is very much your stereotypical YT girl. She likes watching Bridgerton and like Renaissance shows. And so she loves like the architecture of like Victorian times as well. And that's her big thing. She wants to go and see the sights, you know.
Yeah, why not?
Um, and
It's a big
oh, and
world.
man,
Why not see it? Like I'd
for
love to
sure.
visit England. It's not anything I feel compelled to do, but I'd like to. What I like about the UK is that it's so close to so many other countries.
Yep.
So you could just hit a bunch of countries in a short time, and I think that would be fun to do.
My mother-in-law and her husband, they retired, I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, I want to say, and they have been traveling like they go on multiple trips throughout the year, and that's because they never had the chance to do it. Which is really funny because my son every once in a while he'll come up to me, he'll go like, "Daddy, is Nana and Grandpa Paul traveling again?" And I'll like, "Yeah, yeah, I think so." And I'll show him on a globe. He's starting to get interested in like where things are.
Mhm.
And I show him. I was like, "Well, buddy, this is where we are." And then they went to their last trip. They went to Morocco. Um, and I was like, and they're all the way over there. And he's funny. My son, he goes, "Daddy, did they drive there?" I was like, "Nope, that one's jumping on a plane." And he goes, "Oh, that's a long way." Yep, it's a long way. And so eventually, like, we want to start doing a little more traveling, as we start to get older and wind down. Something actually, now that I'm remembering what you and Mr. Sir were talking about, um, when it came to uh cost of living, standard income, minimum wage, that kind of stuff. When you mentioned to me, I don't remember when I think it was right around the time you were born when you said the average income was $5,000 a year.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting here going like when you said also that, minimum wage at least uh $30 an hour, and I'm understanding that like that's roughly what I'm getting paid, and I work like 70-hour work weeks.
Right.
And it's tough to really think about it, especially knowing that my wife and I want to travel and see more of the world. It is a huge world, we want to get out and experience other cultures and talk to interesting people. And that's really hard when we're busting our asses in our mid 30s.
Yeah.
Um,
Because the
but
oligarchs don't give a shit about you. They just want you to be a battery in the matrix.
and that's the thing I brought up in a conversation I had with somebody recently, and he was an older gentleman, and he tried to hit me with with the argument. He goes like, "How old are you?" I was like, "I'm 36," and he says, by the time I was your age, I already had 2 properties, I had 4 cars, and blah blah blah. I was
Whatever.
like,
Who gives a fuck?
dude, yeah, because it costs $7.
Yeah.
Like I can't do that right now. It's like it's not that my wife and I are struggling per se. We
No, but
could
you're
all
not living, like just a
that
frivolous, carefree life either.
it
If you're
is a
talking about 70 hours a week, that's insane. It doesn't need to take that much. 40 hours is enough. That's more than enough giving your life to a corporation, you know?
well, that's the interesting thing too, because of the fact that I am also like it's I've been working on it for a couple of years is actually having, being addicted to working. I love what I do as a chef and it is very taxing and demanding. I'm getting better at pulling back, not working as much as I used to. But it is really interesting when it's like, yeah, God, I'm dead on my feet, and I have 2 days off and it's like, okay, I have just enough to make sure we got the bills. There's there's food on the table and the lights are at least on, you know.
Now, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
What would happen if you broke your leg and couldn't work for 6 weeks?
Oh, well, my wife and I have actually talked about it. That's a really good question. My wife and I talked about that about a year ago because I was thinking about leaving the company that I'm working for, and she told me she's like, "Well, because she works as a researcher in a large lab, and she does pretty well. She says I could probably start pulling in some overtime, and I would need to be like a stay-at-home dad for my son, and we might be able to make it for a period of time, but it wouldn't be for forever, So it would be one
See,
of
so
those things.
that whole answer from start to finish,
Mm,
including the sound you made when I first asked you the question, is the problem.
mm,
That's the problem in America.
yep, yep.
It's
That we're making
here's
plans.
here's what in 1965 the answer was, oh, everything will be fine, we have money in the bank, and I work 40 hours a week, that's all I need to work, my wife stays at home, takes care of the children, and we're good. Nobody worried about that shit
Yep,
because America had gotten to the point where they appreciated that the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So you have to create a social safety net to make sure that nobody falls through the cracks and people can have a decent life. But now it's like the number one way people lose their house is medical bills. That's
yep,
fucking crazy. And in
yep.
Like
China,
it's
like
completely fine.
when everybody thought that TikTok was going to close, and like many people, I ran to Red Note. Um, I started hearing things from Chinese citizens that I had never heard before, and vice versa. They had learned more about America directly from American citizens. I was very uh, I was very intrigued by the fact that Chinese people had no idea what repossession of a house was. They didn't know what that meant because that's not part of their society. Once you buy a house, no matter how poor you have, no matter how poor you are, you have that house forever, right? And like they have, high speed internet, and they have all these things because the government, no matter what you could say about that government, and the government can be criticized, but at least the one thing we can't say is that they don't care about their citizens because they clearly do.
Yeah.
I do have a caveat to that because if you go to the Uyghur Muslims in the far
Again, that's where
extreme,
the criticism comes in. I'm fully aware of that,
yeah.
and that's a
So it's
horrifying thing, right? So that's
uh,
that's a big flaw
yeah.
in the government. But when you talk to the average citizen, they're not the ones doing that. Okay, that's the
No,
government doing that
exactly.
shit. So
Yeah,
the average citizen is leading a decent life because the government set it up so that they can.
yeah. Well, there's also cities just outside Beijing where they set up 5 different It's almost like if you go to Disneyland. Is this Disneyland? That's what you call it, isn't it?
Well, there's Disney
And you've
World and
got like,
Disneyland, yes.
yeah, you've got like the 5 different like cities of the world or whatever it is in this small world, but with those. So they built a London, they built an Amsterdam, they built a New York, and they built it. So they built 5 main cities just on the outskirts because of how many people were living there. However, it failed because no one wanted to move there. It was a good tourist hotspot because they wanted to see if it was. So they practically built these places to be those countries. But it doesn't really work if you're living in day to day life because then you're stuck in a place which is just a tourist trap. Like, don't get me wrong, I believe the prejudice against China is wrong. That's what we're doing horribly wrong in the Western world at the moment because they're going to be the new superpower because they've actually developed technology. They understand how social care works. The trouble I have with China is the dictatorship of it. But the majority of what they're doing is for the people. It's just there's an odd few things where they aren't doing it for the people, they're doing it for their own gain. And that's my big, and that's the Western influence on it.
I think that's absolutely fair to say all that. So we're going to wrap it up, but I usually
I
take
do have
final
one
thoughts
final question.
if anybody has final thoughts. So we'll start with you, Lalton. Do you have any final thoughts or questions for the
Is it
evening?
15 minutes past midnight over where you are?
It is 15 minutes past 2 a.m. where I am.
Oh, it's 5 in the morning where we are at the moment.
Okay.
So it's only 3 hours from where you are.
Yeah, that's weird.
I know.
I thought there was a 5 hour difference between.
Oh,
Are
yeah,
are
that's
you?
what I mean. It's
Yeah.
5:16 at the moment.
Oh, that's okay. Interesting. So
During daylight
any final thoughts
saving,
for the evening?
jazz is a great thing to listen to. I love
Fair
jazz.
enough. Fair enough. That I would agree with that. All right. Thanks so much for being here. I'm here Monday through Saturday, usually 10 p.m. Eastern time, and on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays I come on at noon again Eastern time. So hopefully we'll see each other again.
I'll hope to see you again.
All right. Excellent. Have a great night. And
You too.
for Barsky, any final thoughts for the evening?
You know, like we said when we first started talking about like music and a bunch of stuff, like I love the idea of people talking about subjectivity when it comes to, your taste in music, food, uh, clothing, hairstyle, whatever it is. I always love that. I always love that conversation. Always,
Mhm.
always nice to hear, you know, the folks that you bring up and you're having conversations with. Like I could listen to it all night. And ultimately, man, like I appreciate you always bringing me up here, and it's always an honor to talk with you.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you very much. I'll tell you, I got uh, I had a phenomenal experience on my Thursday live show. I was doing a noon show, and I was talking about um, the it's a constant theme that I have lately, which is God is just your imagination, right? But
Mhm.
aside from the inner workings of that, a woman came on in the basically the third act of the show and told me that uh, she and her family are Middle Eastern, and her father had believed that like honor, KILLINGS, were okay,
Right.
and they had one in their family that her father says was justified, and she was constantly playing my live shows to her, my live shows talking about God and the Bible and all that stuff,
Mhm.
and he finally let that all go. He finally, because of stuff that I
Wow.
said, let that all go, and that helped repair their relationship.
Wow.
And like, I was on the verge of tears, quite honestly, when she told me that, because, one of the things that happens in social media to people that create content is that it can feel like screaming into the void. And
Okay.
you never know whether it has any impact at all. And if it has an impact, what is the impact? So to get that kind of feedback really answers the question for me, why am I doing this? Because whatever conversation I have, I never know which conversation is the one that's going to resonate with someone. Like I didn't make this known earlier in tonight's session, but someone was talking about ending their life in the chat.
Oh
And I
man.
quietly just had a short conversation with them, and they reported that they decided not to do it.
Amazing.
I have no idea whether that was a legitimate thing or not, so I'm not going to put too much stock in it, but just on the face of it, that's a pretty significant interaction between two human beings,
Yeah.
and so I don't take this thing for granted. I love the same kind of things that you love in terms of the substance of conversations and exploring different things and being free to disagree without being disagreeable, you know.
Mhm.
And it's only the people that are not mature enough to have to hear a difference of opinion that really have a problem with me, and I'll accept that. But for now, that thing that happened yesterday, that's the thing that I'm going to keep in my back pocket every time I take the mic.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. As
Yes,
always,
sir.
I think I'll be back. My voice has been kind of worn out this week, but it I think I'll be back for tomorrow night because I missed last Saturday, so
Yeah.
I'm overdue for a diner night. So if I don't see you then, hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Always good to talk to you. You take care, okay?
All right. Good night.
All right.
Folks, thanks for hanging in there for 2 hours and 21 minutes. I appreciate that. As I said earlier, I am here Monday through Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern, and Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 12 noon. I might start taking Mondays off. I'm not sure. I haven't decided fully yet. But with any luck, I'll be here tomorrow night. If not, until we talk next, peace, love, and granola. Talk to you soon.